Good morning, God's beloved. I am so glad to be with you this morning. My name is Melissa, and I am one of your pastors at Heart of the Rockies Christian Church. And oh my goodness, how much I have missed you during this time when we've had to spend more time in our homes, when we've had to change our schedules and our plans. I sure miss hearing you running through the halls while I'm in a meeting or giving you a high five on your way back to Alpha and Omega. I miss the times we have together, sitting up front in the sanctuary during worship. So I hope you're doing well, and I hope you know how much you are loved. So I'm going to share a story with you today. But before I do that, I want to give you the chance to get together some of the supplies that we'll use during our time together. So I've got a list here for you to make it easy. So if you need to pause to go grab these things and come back, that's just fine. I'll still be here. So today we're going to use something to write with, either a marker or a crayon, a pair of scissors, plus someone to help you use them safely, and a piece of paper. So I've already got all those things here with me. So again, if you need to take a minute, go ahead and do that and come right back. So the story I'm going to share with you this morning comes from the very first book of the Bible, Genesis. Now, Genesis is where our story begins as people of faith. In fact, the very first words are in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And you know what? God created us too. The story I'm going to share with you today is a little bit further along in the book of Genesis. There are two people who are very important to God, and the names they were given when they were born were Abram and Sarai. Eventually, God called them Abraham and Sarah, and that's what we'll call them today. Our story is called God Promises a Wonderful Blessing. Abraham trusts God. I'm going to show you the pictures. I love that picture of Abraham. And what else do you notice in the picture? Do you see the stars? I see a whole lot of stars. We're going to talk more about those stars. Abraham was very sad because he and his wife, Sarah, had no children. God told him to pack up everything and go to a whole new land and begin a whole new life. Abraham trusted God, so he and Sarah left their home and family and began a long, hard journey. They wandered through deserts, up and down mountains, through green pastures and dark forests, constantly longing for a home of their own filled with happy children. They wandered for so many years, they grew too old to have babies. One night, God said, I am giving this land to you and your children and your children's children. God, you must be joking, Abraham said. Sarah and I are too old to have children. He stroked his long, white beard. Trust me, my child, God replied. Look at the stars in the sky. Look at the stars in the sky. Your children and your children's children will be as many as those stars. Abraham thought, how can that be? But then he remembered that God always keeps God's promises. And so Abraham trusted God. Then God smiled and said, I will bless you and your children so that you can be a blessing to all the people of the world. That story came from the Children of God Storybook Bible. So I don't know about you, but I don't think I could count all the stars in the sky, even if I tried. But what I can do is make some stars with you today. So to start, you can take your piece of paper and your marker or your crayon or whatever you're going to draw with. And we're going to draw some stars on our paper. So the way I remember how to draw a star is, how many points does a star have? It has 5 points. So how many lines do we use when we draw a star? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go ahead and draw a couple of stars on your piece of paper. And if you need to pause me while you do that, that's just fine. So once you've had a chance to draw a couple of stars, then we're going to use our scissors and we're going to cut them out. But instead of cutting the whole way through each line, we're just going to cut from the point of the star to the place where the lines touch. So go ahead and do that with all of your stars. And if your stars are like mine, not every point is exactly the same size, but that's okay. I'm guessing that not every star in the sky looks exactly the same either. So go ahead and take all the time you need to cut out those stars. I'm just going to cut out one to show you. And once you've got your collection of stars, you can take what you're using to write again and go ahead and write on those stars some things that are a blessing to you. I like to think of a blessing as something that reminds me of who God is. So I'm going to put on my stars my dogs, because they remind me of just how much fun life can be. And God created creatures just like them. Let's see, what else will I put on my stars? I'm going to put on my stars my brother. His name is Ryan. He's a real blessing to me because the way that he is as a teacher and the way he is as a brother to me reminds me of just how much God cares about me and wants to see me learn and grow. Let's see. What other blessings should I put on my stars? I know. I'm going to write down hiking. Hiking is such a blessing to me because it gets me out in the fresh air. It reminds me of how beautiful God's creation is, and it helps me move my body and make my lungs stronger. On my next star, I'm going to write Daniel. Daniel is such a great pastor, and he's such a good partner in ministry to me. And I give thanks to God every day for him. On my next star, I'm going to write Ben. Ben is my husband, my partner in this life. And his kindness toward me, even when I'm not at my best, reminds me of just how sweet God's love can be. So you can keep going with as many stars as you want, but I'm going to show you mine. I'm going to keep these close by. Ooh, there it goes. I'm going to keep these close by this week to remind me of all the blessings in my life. And to close our time together, I'm going to say a blessing for you. God bless each one who watches this video, who counts their blessings, who is loved by you. God, we're so thankful that that is each one of us. Give us what we need in this life. Surround us with people who love us and help us feel in our hearts just how much you love us too. Amen. God be with you till we meet again.